And what's going on, you guys? Welcome back for another guitar lesson. This one's all about tapping. And as always, be sure to check out my website. It's redisheshredder.com. I've got a lot of tabs and a lot of information there for these lessons. Got a lot of tabs for the exercises. So, and also I'll be sure to read my disclaimer there to kind of understand where we're coming from. And as always, be sure to check out the previous lessons because all the lessons build on top of each other. Especially this one, we're going to use a lot of clean playing techniques, and you need to know how to do vibrato and bends for this one. So anyway, as always, I tune all my strings down to one whole step. So if you want to play along, keep in mind that I'm going to refer to everything as if I was in standard tuning, but we're actually all the strings are actually tuned down one whole step. So if you want to play along, here it is. Okay, so tapping is just a really good technique you can use to add a lot to your playing. Just make sure you don't overdo it because it'll sound a little cheesy. But anyway, if you hopefully you know what tapping is. All you do is basically just touching a note with your right hand. That's all it really is. A lot of guys say you should hit it really hard and come off it really hard. I don't think you should do that. I think you should just gently touch the frets with your right hand or whatever. Because if you go down too hard, you might hit strings and you might miss and stuff like that. You don't want it to be an aggressive motion. It should be pretty easy. Anyway, you can use a lot of different fingers or whatever for tapping. I like to use my middle finger just because it's the longest, it's the strongest, it's easy to point to things with it, and you get that tactile sensation, so you know when you hit a note. You can also use your index finger, but the downside of that is you have to move your pickup, and so if you're playing a really fast solo or something like that, I don't think you should be changing stuff like this. I mean, it might seem like a little thing to just roll the pickup a little bit, but when you're trying to play fast, like I said, every little detail counts. So, but using either finger, either your index or middle finger, I think those are better than using the edge of your pick, which you can also use to do tapping. Use the edge of your pick because you don't have any tactile sensation using the edge of your pick, and also it makes some of the techniques and some of the little examples I'll show you a little bit harder. But if you're comfortable with that, then go for it. One advantage of using the side of your pick is you can tap pretty fast with it. And anyway, what I like to do is I like to just rest my right hand, the heel of my right hand, right on my strings and just mute all those strings, mute everything except for the strings that I'm trying to tap. The only thing is you don't want to mute too hard because you'll get kind of noise like this, and that's not good. So if you want to start tapping, I like to always go to Metallica examples. A really good example of tapping is the Metallica song 1. And so you can find some tabs and stuff like that for it. Here's what it sounds like. But anyway, I like to look at my tapping finger as I'm tapping. The reason for that is just because it helps me understand where I should be tapping. The only thing is, if you want to do that, you also got to make sure that you know exactly what your left hand is doing. So you got to trade that off there. And anyway, that's pretty much all there is to tapping. It's just a gentle touch with your right hand or your whatever finger or your edge of your pick. And so now I'm just going to show you some nice little exercises you can do that combine tapping with vibrato and bending. So here are the bunch of examples. They're all in the key of E minor, and for all these we're just going to be combining bending and tapping, and maybe some vibrato in there too. So just keep in mind that when you bend and then when you tap on a note that's bent, so let's say you tap on the 12th fret, if the string is bent a whole step, you're not going to get an E note out of it. You'll get an F sharp because your string has been bent. So as always, I like to play these examples without any bending first, and then afterwards, just so we know what it sounds like, and then after that we can try it with bending. So for this one, we're just going to bend from the 4th to the 5th and tap on the 6th. So without bending, it should sound like this. That's pretty simple. And then with a bend, it'll sound like this. So keep in mind we have to tap onto a different fret this time, but it's going to be the same note. It's going to, the fret we're tapping on is 2 frets lower, but we're going to get the same note because the string is bent a whole step. Same note. Okay, so that's pretty much the main type of thing we're going to be going for. And then you can tap on different notes, but you just, once again, you got to remember we're going to tap on frets, on different frets than what we would normally play if the string wasn't bent. So let's do tapping on the 7th, but this one, of course, we're going to first play it without bending first. So same thing, but except tap on the 7th. So it'll be like this. So yeah, with bending it'll sound like this. Oops. Sorry. And so once again, just keep in mind I'm tapping on 2 frets lower than I actually would tap if the string wasn't bent. And then of course you can tap an octave too. So once again, without bending, and then with bending. So here's a fun one. So in the tapping and bending, or excuse me, in the bending and vibrato video, I talked about doing a 1.5 step bend. So you can do the same thing here. It's pretty hard though, and I can't show it to you without bending because I don't have enough frets on this guitar. You need a 27 fret guitar to show this example without bending. But I could do it on an octave lower, so that's what I will do. So this is what it should sound like. What we're going to do is we're going to tap on the 24th fret. That's going to give us an F sharp note instead of an E note, because once again, remember, we're tapping a whole step, or we're bending a whole step. And then we're going to bend it another half step to get a G note. So this is what it should sound like, an octave lower without bending. So it'll sound like that, but of course we'll do an octave higher now. So with bending, it'll sound like this. It's kind of hard. Let's do it again. And one more time. And of course you can add some left-hand vibrato in there too. One thing I actually forgot to mention earlier is that if you're planning on tapping with your fingers, you can expect to build some callus there, just like you'd build callus on your left hand. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because now I'm feeling that pain a little bit in my right hand. But anyway, that's natural. You know, just keep practicing until you build up enough callus so that it doesn't hurt anymore. But here's another example. This time we're going to be bending on the 7th, bending up to the root note, and then we'll tap on the 3rd. So this time we're going to be doing it on a different string though. And so for all these examples, when you're tapping and bending and tapping, all this stuff, make sure that you gotta understand that when you bend the string, it moves the actual string. So you can't just tap where you normally think your strings would be. You gotta tap a little bit higher, a little bit lower, or whatever, wherever the strings are after you've bent them. So here we go. And once again, without bending or anything, it should sound like this. And then with bends, it sounds like this. Okay, so you don't always have to, bend and then tap onto a note. You can tap, bend it, and like release and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So here's just a quick example, here's what it should sound like without any bending, as always. And so for this one, we're tapping on the 7th, and then just doing the 4th and the 5th again. So here's what it'll sound like with bending this time. So once again, just tap, then bend. So for all those examples before, I was just showing you like tapping and bending. I'll just show you some regular tapping exercises you can use. One of the harder things for tapping is being able to tap a bunch of stuff on one string and then jumping over to another string and back and stuff like that. So I've got this one little lick that I made up just for fun, whatever. You can do it for like solos or warm up, whatever. It's just like a little pentatonic thing. There's no bending, like I said. So for this one, it's just going to be I'll just do it without tapping first, and you can hear what it sounds like. And then with tapping, you can just tap those high notes. Oops. Okay, and just one more fun little exercise thing I made up. It's I can't really play it without tapping because it's kind of crazy. So, but yeah, I'll probably mess this up because it's kind of a little bit, it's more like a warm-up little type thing, so I'll just show it to you, and hopefully I don't mess it up too bad, but alright. Let's do it again. Thanks for watching the tapping lesson. I hope it helped out, and if you got any questions, just let me know, and as always, keep it real, keep it metal. Peace.